Welcome to Tenkara in Focus, Season 2, Episode 2.
So yeah, we're back with just 1 week between episodes. It's getting fast and furious, really.
Yeah, what have we done, John? That's the question. But I think it's the way forward, just to keep it super fresh. So you know, for instance, we can bring you straight into stuff about that. You know, that the focus that we've got this week is all about, you know, the dozens of reasons why you shouldn't use a nylon line, and then maybe the 2 good reasons that you should.
This episode, in case you've not gathered already, we're kind of sort of making it a nylon line special. And we're talking about nylon level line, which is not great for casting. That you get that out there straight away.
It's not, and also even more specific than that, we're talking actually about number 3 diameter nylon line, because either side of that, the trade-offs, you basically, there's always a better fluorocarbon level line if it's not a number 3 nylon line.
The work's been done by one guy in particular, Kazuo Kurahashi.
Well, we'll be hearing from him later on in the show.
You may know him better as Kura-san. He's featured in Tenkara in Focus before. So yeah, we've got a great interview with him about the way he pioneered the use of number 3 nylon. But first, a lot of people have asked us where they can see some info we put out about using a nylon line with the Karasu rod. We actually put that out in our launch material when we were promoting the launch of the Karasu, but they were videos which were based around the launch, so we took them down after we'd launched. And many people have kind of got in touch and said, oh, I really wanted to watch that bit about fishing with the nylon line again. So here it is. So here we are on stream with Paul. He's going to be fishing a 6 metre nylon level line, and we're going to look at the advantages of fishing with such a line. Before we talk about advantages, it's worth noting that this line is very difficult to cast. If we take a close look right at the end when the line's turning over, you'll see it's only just turning over. So why not just use a fluorocarbon line or a taper line or whatever your favourite casting line is? Well, in some situations you're going to find you're going to have to cross the current casting across a river rather than being able to cast in line with the flow. This means the weight of the line is going to be acting against you. We can take a closer look at that now. With a high rod stop and good turnover, we get the classic triangle that we expect in a Tenkara presentation. For drag-free presentation across currents, the limiting factor is usually the weight of the line, inducing drag back towards the angler. With nylon, we minimise the weight of the line, thus minimising the effect of drag and keeping the maximum separation between angler and fly. If we compare nylon to a number 4 fluorocarbon, Paul's able to achieve a much greater distance and better turnover with his cast, but you can see that immediately after the cast, the sag in the heavy line starts to draw the fly back towards him. This is not always as big a problem as you might think. If you can add some manipulation, you may be able to actually use this as a technique, but if you want dead drift, nylon really provides superior presentation. And of course, the advantage of nylon, if you do decide to add some manipulation, it can be much more subtle, as you can see Paul demonstrating here as he uses nylon line to just add a couple of twitches before he gets a fish.
So there you go. I hope you enjoyed that and you took some things from it. Certainly, it's not going to be the last time that we revisit that kind of triangle of awesome. The sort of, the roof sort of profile between your rod and your casting line. It's critical. It's one of the major advantages in Tenkara itself.
It's kind of, if you're not fishing like that, if you look back to the Deadly Sins from episode 1 and on in Tenkara in Focus season 1, can't emphasize that line off the water triangle enough.
Wherever you can. I mean, obviously, sometimes you have to make a compromise and there's trade-offs. And then, the reason that you get into nylon line, and, it's a pig to cast, you need a good rod to cast it as well. But the reason that you go to those efforts and learn that casting stroke and maybe invest in that kind of a rod that'll actually do it for you is that you get that extra reach without that kind of drape otsuri, that sort of change, that sort of return where it's wanting to sag down and hang from the rod tip. You can only use it in windless conditions. There's a whole load of caveats attached to it, and actually, if you want to find out more about it, there's a full breakdown that we've written on our site. We'll pop a link up as one of the little iCards on screen. You can click through from YouTube, check that out, because it's worth sitting down and just kind of absorbing that when you've got a little bit of time to do it.
It's probably worth having a little, bullet point discussion now about what is this nylon line, because a lot of people say, oh, can I use Sea Strike or can I use Amnesia? And the truth is, for that particular application that Kura-san does with nylon line, a lot of these sort of sea fishing lines that you see, especially we know in the UK, most sort of carp fishing and sea fishing line, it's got quite a lot of coil memory when it comes off the spool. It's quite wiry.
It's not even only that. I think as well that you can use almost anything if you're fishing directly underneath your rod. If you're going to cast downwards,
a line the length of the rod will cast no matter what.
We're talking really about lines that are maybe up to about a couple of meters longer. The casting line's a couple of meters longer than your rod, and then you've probably got 3 foot or more of tippet on the end of that as well. Then you want something that's going to cast, and it's got to have that right density. And I'm not going to stand here and say, or sit here and say, there's only one brand of nylon that has all the right kind of combination of properties. But you know what? There's some that are a lot better than others, and they're difficult to find. Kura-san spent a lot of time and money actually investing in finding the ones that worked.
When you get that right type of nylon, it's very supple and limp. It's almost like a really nice fly line. In like 0.2 millimeter thick.
For a Lego sort of angler.
It's lovely, sort of limp, soft, supple, more plasticky than most nylons.
I was just going to say, plasticky was the word. There seems to be, as well, with the colour of it, it seems to be kind of a solid, opaque. Kind of
we've got, I don't know how well that shows up on camera, but I think it shows up pretty well there. That's some ready-made lines that I often sell to clients while we're out guiding. A lot of people want to walk away from a day's guiding with the line that they've been using. And a lot of people have been asking us, where can I get some of this nylon line? So kind of
that's not just us doing BSing, because you can see that on the various Facebook pages and that
kind of by sort of accident we thought, well, why not combine the two together and let's put some on our website. So we've got individual lines around sort of 4.5 meter, 5 meter lines, but then we thought, why not get the Karasu spools and put on some lovely nylon line. So there'll be a link on screen now. I'm sure we can work that. Won't be too difficult. So if you want to check out these lines and you want to give nylon line fishing a go
on a cool black spool,
head over to discovertenkara.com. You can follow the links on screen, and it'll all be there.
It makes sense. So up next, and on the back of the whole theme of nylon lines that we're carrying through this episode, we were actually super fortunate that earlier on in summer, Go Ishii managed to get Kura-san in a headlock, sit him down as the originator of the techniques with this sort of number 3 nylon line, and really get him to walk through the whole sort of genesis, the process that he went through, the thinking behind it, and the advantages of it.
Yeah, some of you guys might have seen this before. We shared this video with a few people on Facebook over the summer. It was one of those things. A lot of people have been asking us about the nylon lines, and this was just too good a story to sit on.
It was kind of hot off the press, wasn't it? Because they were literally out there fishing, so sort of sharing it really immediately.
Yeah, so if you've seen this already, you might want to stop watching now, or if you really like Tenkara, you might just want to watch it again.
There's so much in it, though. It's definitely worth checking out the detail, because you'll get a lot out of it.
Yeah.
Okay, so I've got Kura-san here. I'd like to maybe have him talk about his nylon line for us. And so the first question would be, how did you get started on using nylon level lines?
それまで2号のフロロカーボンのラインをよく使って、お気に入りのがあってよく使ってたんだけど、それが製造中止になって、それの代わりになるものを探してて、ナイロラインどうかなと思って使ってみたのがきっかけです。
なるほど。So he used to use this number 2 fluorocarbon level line that he really liked. But the line got discontinued. They stopped making them, so he was, looking for a new line to use and decided to try a nylon line and give it a shot one day, and that's how he started.
で、ナイロン使えるじゃんっていうことになれば、見やすい色のものがフロロに比べてたくさん種類があったんで、これはいいやと思って何種類か使ってみた。
So he realized that manufacturers make nylon lines in much brighter colors. I think for mainly saltwater, but some trout too. So there is more option in terms of colors for visibility compared to fluorocarbon level lines with nylon. So he was he was pretty excited about that, and he saw that there was definitely potential.
それで最初は投げるの難しいのかなと思ったんだけど、2号のフロロをきれいに投げれれば案外スッと投げることができて、じゃあしばらくちょっと試してみようと。
So at first he thought casting a nylon line would be quite a challenge, but if you know how to cast a number 2 fluorocarbon level line perfectly, then it's not an impossible task. He felt like if he worked on it a little bit, then he would be able to cast a number 3 level line that's nylon.
それでとにかく使ってみて最初にびっくりしたのは、お釣りが全然ということはないんだけれども、ものすごく少ないんで、毛針がすごく素直に流れてくれたり、対岸のスポットにずーっとゆっくりととどまってくれてたりということが分かったというか、やってみたらそうだ。
So once he gave it a try with nylon level lines, he figured out that because they're so lightweight, you can cast the line or the fly kebari across the current, and you can keep it there for a much longer period of time than with fluorocarbon level lines. And that gives you a great advantage. It gives more time for the fish to see the kebari and to take it. So it's he really likes that advantage that level line nylon lines provide.
それに比べると、ナイロンラインは、特に天から用っていうものはなくって、海釣り用だったり川釣り用だったり、100メートル巻きのスプールで売ってるので、もう何倍も天から用のラインよりは安い。それもメリットだな。
So another big merit of using level line nylon is that they're not made for Tenkara lines. So they're usually made for saltwater fishing or trout fishing, and they come in these big spools with 100+ meters. So it's much more economical to use nylon lines than with conventional Tenkara lines.
で、よく言われるように、とにかく風に弱いと、風に弱いというのが最大の弱点かなと思ってて、だから、風が強いときはフロロを使って、風があんまり吹いてないときには、レベルラインで、ナイロンラインで、するということが最近は多い。
So the downside of using level nylon lines is that it doesn't perform so well in windy conditions. So when there's no wind, he would use nylon, and when there's wind, he would use fluorocarbon.
毛張りが、まあ私にとっては、フロロよりも、自然に流しやすい、ナイロンの方が自然に流しやすいんだけど、それゆえに、立ち位置が制限されても、割と毛張りを自然に流すことができる。フロロだとどうしてもラインに毛張りが引っ張られちゃうようなケースでも、逆に毛張りがラインを引っ張っていってくれるよね。そんな流し方をしやすいので、特に立ち位置が制限されるような時とか、どうしてもまっすぐ吊り上がらなきゃいけないとか、そういう時にも重宝します。
So, he's saying when space is limited, you have trees around or big boulders that you have to work around. When you're fishing with the nylon level line, your positioning is not as restricted. Like with level lines, if you're fishing upstream, the kebari, the fly would drift faster than the current of the water, the river itself. But because nylon is so light, depending on you don't have to get that upstream positioning to get that slower drift.
それでやっぱりピンポイントに一発で入れるっていうのはプロに比べたら難しい。だけどラインが軽いおかげもあって毛張りを静かに着水させることができるので何回か同じポイントこれダメだと思ってやり直しても魚あまりびっくりせずに出てきてくれる。
Because nylon level lines are so light, they are difficult to cast and it's sometimes difficult to get the fly into the right spot in a single cast. But because it's so light, the landing of the fly is more gentle. And there's certainly a big advantage compared to level fluorocarbon lines.
だから流れが水面の釣りは水面の釣りでいいんだけれども沈めるときにそこに入っていく波がピンスポットで入っていくところがあってそこに本当ピンスポットで入れてやると毛張りが水の抵抗を受けてシュルシュルシュルシュルともうラインを引っ張って毛張りから先にポイントに入っていく。
自分で投げるのも軽いけど水ももっと利用しやすくなる。So it's easier to utilize different types of currents you see in the water. Say for instance, when there is a small pinpoint spot, if you are able to drop the kebari there's a turning, like vertically turning circulation of water where because the line is so light, that turbulence of water is able to pull the line. The hackle of the kebari will receive the water from water pouring down, and it gets sucked into the depth of whatever, and it's hard to do that with fluorocarbon level lines because the line itself is heavy.
で、重たいフロロで正しく毛張りを流せるっていうのが目標なんだけれども、どういうのが正しく流れるのかっていうことを勉強する実験というか勉強というかするには、ナイロン使ったら何が起こるか見てみるのもいいんじゃないかな。気軽にやってみればいいという。
So he definitely recommends everybody to try using a nylon level line because it will show you how the kebari should drift in the water. And then when you go back to your fluorocarbon line, you can try to imitate the same drift or try to recreate the same drift. And it will definitely change your fishing. You will see very interesting things, he says. So let's give it a try. ありがとうございました。 Thank you very much.
That's it for another episode, our Nylon Line special.
Yeah, I was going to say extravaganza, actually, going to really big it up. But if you've got any more questions, you're still not sure what the whole thing's about, definitely head on over to our information page. We'll stick a link up to it now, and you can check it out. You've got all the details there, and also you've got a chance to get hold of some if you want to get the real deal and actually make sure you're using the real stuff.
Yeah, it is, as we've said, and many people have found out, there are so many different lines. You can easily get the wrong one, and let's be honest, a lot of people have got the wrong one. You know, their opinion of nylon is formed by using the wrong nylon.
Yeah, you want to give it a lash in the sort of the proper sort of conditions with the right sort of setup.
Yeah.
But yeah, head on over to the site and check that out. But if you do nothing else, click that subscribe button, and we'll catch you next week.
Yeah,
I've still not got used to saying that. In the next episode of Tenkara in Focus.
See you then.
Get out and fish.